Welcome to a Starter and a Chaser podcast with your hosts, Joe Clarke and John Passow.
Turning your head to look at somebody requires a very specific speed. Too fast or too slow, and it's just kind of weird. Hi, welcome to another episode of a Starter and a Chaser podcast. I am John Passow.
I'm Joe Clarke.
Joe, I am super excited about today's episode because we're drinking absinthe. But not just any absinthe. Absinthe from Key West, Florida. This is no French absinthe here. This is
Death in the afternoon.
Floridian. Floridian death in the afternoon. So we have our little absinthe set up here, and I'm going to start infusing some of these with water in the proper way that it should be done. But Joe, tell us a little bit about Death in the Afternoon and Key West Trading Company.
It is 140 proof.
140 proof.
And the other thing that's really cool is that this was Ernest Hemingway's favorite drink. It's also named after, and Ernest Hemingway was also a resident of Key West, Florida.
Yes, he was.
That's really cool. Death in the Afternoon was a Spanish bullfighting book written by Ernest Hemingway in 1932, and he drank a cocktail called Death in the Afternoon cocktail, which is absinthe and champagne.
And apparently, I think he was diabetic, and that's why he didn't use sugar cubes in his, but we have the proper sugar cubes. And I'm doing an infusion with water. There's ice in there as well. We're doing 1 part absinthe to 3 parts water. And you want to do a slow infusion with the water because it brings out more of those oils. One oil will start to come out, then the next, then the next. And these are traditional absinthe glasses. That holds the right
That's
measurement
where you
of
put
absinthe.
the measurement. Okay, yeah, cool.
And we also have another cool little bit of absinthe history. Absinthe, originated in Switzerland, I think. Mm-hmm. I believe Switzerland, and then made its way to France, where it's kind of got its fame. But they used to serve in the absinthe bars the drink on these little platters, and this is how they told you were cut off, and it also kept track of your tab.
Yeah.
They would stack these up. Yeah. So it's got the price, and you had to stack them up. And if you've had too many, they'd give you one, not a blue around there, they'd give you one with a red ring around the glass.
And that was it.
That means this is your last one. So cultured. I love it.
Cool. Let's see how it changes color. So it's doing that. What process is that?
The luge effect.
I remember our last, we did a metaxa that was the ooze effect.
Yes, the ooze effect.
And these are both the same base type anise spirits or whatever?
Yeah, and that's why it gets milky white. It's typically anise that creates that that milkiness. Cool. And let me get...
I'm going to start mine up here.
Yeah. And so the reason why this is another interesting thing about Ernest Hemingway, that this is actually a recreation of the original recipe from Cuba that he would drink. Absinthe was illegal at the time when he was drinking it down in Florida, so he would get illegal absinthe from Cuba shipped in, and it was based off of an old Pernod recipe for absinthe, and this is that recipe.
So your typical spices in this is like wormwood, green anise, the Florence fennel, and other things that can be in it too is, if I say, is it hyssop?
Yes, hyssop.
Okay, hyssop. And coriander, peppermint, and back in the day, what could there be? Something psychedelic?
Something called, wormwood was the psychedelic thing, but it had a chemical, thujon, that is slightly psychedelic. So that this is not to a level that you will get high off of it. You won't see the green fairy. Usually you have to have such high amounts of wormwood in there in order to get those effects. Then usually the alcohol took effect before the psychedelic effect
Still here.
would happen. So, Joe,
smells like-
what are you getting?
Yeah, this smells like the Brock's black jelly beans.
Brock's black.
Yeah.
Who's Brock's?
Brock's is the jelly bean maker. They have the old, that's the old school, like, you know, sugary jelly beans that had, you know, you had your regular colors. Now people use all the Starburst stuff you see now. But Brock's was the candy maker that made the originals that I like and I still like. And this is the black jelly bean is what it smells like. It exactly like that.
All right.
That thingy's cool.
That thingy is cool. It's a little loud.
It's like a timer. It's like, time to get drunk.
Your absinthe is done, sir. Ding! So jelly beans, what else are you getting on there?
That's it. It is like straight anise.
Really?
It's the black licorice jelly bean. It's, just overpoweringly that.
Nice.
Yeah. So it ought to be interesting. It has
beautiful.
Did you say luge effect?
Luge effect.
Yeah, it's like a milky.
Or ouzo effect if you're in Greece.
Ouzo. Yeah, right. So this was 140 proof, cut down. He was telling me
40 proof, I would say. If you know what the 1-to-3 ratio absinthe to water brings it down to, please leave a comment below and hit subscribe while you're down there. Joe?
And let's drink it.
Cheers to Hemingway and Florida.
Yeah.
Anise. Little kind of
It tastes exactly like those jelly beans to me.
anise and a little peppermint.
Yeah. Yeah. The anise is like
Dominates. I mean,
so
absolutely.
like I see a lot of people get like, you know, absinthe and they just pour it in a glass and drink it from the bottle like with doing shots, bro. You know what I mean? And I never see anybody do this. I've only had absinthe the proper way. I've only had absinthe one other time besides now, and it was a proper way from a friend that, you know, prepared it just like this, and that was a long time ago. And yeah, that's the only way I've ever drank it.
I enjoy absinthe straight. I enjoy absinthe mixed like this. They say you want to stay away from doing it straight because, well, A, it's super high alcohol, but B, anise has kind of a numbing effect on your tongue.
Yeah, it
and
does.
so when you cut it down with the water, you're actually releasing a lot more oils, and you could taste a lot more of what is actually in the absinthe than straight. But
Cool.
this is milky.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is super creamy, man.
I mean, I would love to sit down and just relax with this.
Yeah, the peppermint's building for me.
I'm getting a lot of those other herbs in there, kind of like the fennel and the hyssop, and I'm getting a little bit of like a herbaceousness, kind of a basil-y note as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And oh wow, this is. I feel like I nailed the ratio on the mix here because this is really nice.
Yeah, it's good. I just like the black licorice note of it. It really brings back the Brock's, you know, jelly beans. It's really good.
Usually in the past when you say black licorice, you refer to those tiny, like rectangular candies.
Some of them are like some of the licorice notes I get because I don't know what it is. It's like really, really dark brown on some of them. It's very close to black licorice. This is the jelly bean black licorice.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like.
So is that more intense anise licorice note?
No, it's just a different flavor. This is super intense. It's just a different type of flavor. The other one is kind of got. The other brown one kind of gives off maybe a slight chocolatey note along with that black licorice taste, but this one is just straight black licorice.
I'm tempted to get champagne and mix this in there and do a proper death in the afternoon.
Yeah.
If we had champagne, I think I'd do a follow-up.
That's interesting. I never even knew that was a drink. I'd like to try that cocktail. That sounds pretty interesting. Yeah.
This with that lively carbonation. And,
yeah. I could see that. Yeah.
No more mimosas for me.
A little bit of a chill to it. Yeah.
Death in the afternoon.
Yeah. That's cool. I could do that.
So, Joe, final thoughts on Key West Trading Company from Key West, Florida. Death in the Afternoon Absinthe.
It's not bad. It's pretty good, man. I'm not a big absinthe drinker in general. It just never caught on, but I do appreciate the proper, because I can't imagine tasting that would be straight. I haven't tried it straight. I'm sure it's really powerful on the notes, maybe overpoweringly.
Should we do it?
No. But I like this. This is kind of neat. It makes sense the way it's done, and I just like watching it happen. Actually. It's pretty sweet.
So you're in love with
the process. I'm in love with the process. It's very cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For me, I'm a big absinthe fan. That's actually what got me started in the brewing path. I distilled 2 batches of absinthe when I was living in LA, and then I moved back to Cleveland, and I became a professional brewer, and the rest is history. So I've got a long history with absinthe, and this is a really well-crafted absinthe. The complexity that you get, even when it's luged, I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I love the anise in there. It's tingling on my tongue, but that herbaceousness is really fascinating. That just really starts to blossom the more you drink of it. And I gotta say, this is a really fucking cool bottle. I mean, look at this thing with the metallic print on there, the skull,
that's
the
definitely
bones,
a cool label.
The ship in the
like the
background.
sword.
I mean, just so many wonderful, and the tax stamp like they did back in the day.
140 proof.
Yeah, 140 proof. I am going to try this straight eventually. I mean, hats off, JD. You hit it out of the park for me. So, cheers.
Cheers.